Republicans take a sledgehammer to Biden's green energy subsidies, locking in tax cuts for the middle class.
So it all boils down to this: tax hikes or tax cuts, handouts or help for the middle class, living with debt or living the American dream. For more, let's bring in former chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors, Kevin Hassett. I'm mad just listening to that mumbly-bumbly piece of sound from Joe Biden. But let's dig in, starting with his budget is federal spending of $7.3 trillion next fiscal year. That's an increase in 1 year of almost 6%, way faster than inflation. Right. Brian Riedel at the Manhattan Institute says, quote, the highest peacetime burden in American history, as well as the highest sustained taxes in American history. Kevin, what say you?
It's just astonishing, this budget. But, they're doing more of the same. And last year, debt held by the public increased by more than GDP. And the CBO projects with this budget, extended this budget, that we're going to have debt held by the public go up by about $500 billion a year more than GDP. And so what they're doing is they're borrowing to gin up GDP, but they're not really getting much GDP out of it. In fact, they're wasting a lot of the money. And here's the thing also, he's bragging a lot when he talks about the economy and his budget about jobs. But if you go back to February 2020 and compare it, we just got February for 2024, then the economy relative to pre-pandemic peak created 2.3 million jobs. Okay, he's talking about 15 million jobs. But the stunning thing is that there were 3.3 million jobs created for illegal aliens. And people who were living in the U.S. in February 2020, there are 1 million fewer of them have jobs now. And so Biden is borrowing money from the Chinese to give jobs to illegal aliens, and he's doubling down on that in the budget. And it's absolutely economic nonsense. It's got to stop.
Kevin, the only good thing about Joe Biden's budget is when he sends it over to Congress, they're going to take a shredder to it because they have the power of the purse in Congress and they write the budget. They'll look at Joe Biden's and say, thank you, old Joe, but, see you later. The problem with this, though, is liberals have this ideology that there's more money and more growth that they can get in government if they tax the rich. And again, we go through this, whether it was Reagan to Clinton to Bush, then to Obama. We see when we cut the size of government, we cut taxes, we have pro-growth policies, and you compare that to liberals who tax more, spend more, regulate more, the outcomes are very, very different. And it's shocking that these liberals haven't figured that lesson out yet.
Right, and you kind of wonder if they figured it out and they're just lying about everything. Like you guys sent me a clip to look at of Mayor Pete talking about these things. The fact is that we cut the corporate tax rate from 35 to 21%, and corporate tax revenue today is way higher than it was the year before that tax cut. And meanwhile, blue collar jobs grew and blue collar wages grew over that time period, and those were people getting jobs, not illegal aliens, people who were U.S. residents back then. And so Joe Biden is really creating an economic disaster. And you have to wonder, are they just ignorant, or are they just lying for political power? And my guess is it's the latter. There's nobody who's so silly that they would think that these things that they're doing, borrowing from the Chinese to give jobs to illegal aliens, is something that makes any sense if you're representing American citizens. And so I really think that it's all about politics, and that it's really shameful. And the fact that there isn't really an honest person left there, if you look at even Mayor Pete is out there shilling for this stuff.
As Biden continues to brag about his plan to increase taxes, Kevin, on the rich, he can never help himself from bashing President Trump's tax cuts. Listen to this.
The last administration enacted a $2 trillion tax cut. $2 trillion tax cut that benefits the very wealthy in the top 1%, the biggest corporations, and exploded the federal deficit.
Well, the top 1% are paying a greater share of taxes. Meanwhile, they pay almost half the taxes in this country. Meantime, nearly 2/3 of Americans got a tax cut under President Trump's tax plan. Sean knows it. I'm preaching to the choir, and you know it.
Yeah, the thing is, if you go back to and look at the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, that on the corporate side, which is the thing that he rails against the most, then there were all these base broadening measures that changed international tax rules and stuff. So if you netted out the international stuff with the rate reduction, then it was almost revenue neutral. And so the $2 trillion that he's talking about, that was stuff that was spent on middle class taxes and child credits and things that he still supports. And so this idea that there was $2 trillion in corporate tax cuts is just false. The JCT score combined was almost zero for those two things.
You know, the Democrats, Kevin, did this during the Bush tax cuts. They railed against them for almost 10 years, and then they were about to expire. And they're like, oh, my God, we can't let them expire because there's all these good things in for middle-income Americans. They're doing the same thing here. If they're going to expire, they would see all of the great things that lower-income Americans get from the Trump tax cuts. But you mentioned a moment ago this issue. It looks like Mayor Pete Buttigieg is trying to use his age to convince Americans that Bidenomics is actually working. Watch this, Kevin.
Unemployment is lower than it was even before COVID. Stock market is higher than it was even before COVID. And job creation is faster than it was even before COVID. So no matter what rebound effects you're talking about, these are economic results that have not happened since before I was born. Now, but I think there's a reason why inflation in the U.S. is lower than it is in any of the other G7 countries.
It's actually not true.
Yes,
at least, well, not according to the Washington Post. They say Japan, Italy, and Germany all had lower inflation rates than we do, and Italy's is less than 1%.
They may have been looking at a different time period.
You know, Kevin, it's almost like Pete Buttigieg thinks we're all stupid. Joe Biden thinks we're stupid. He says it's so great and lists all these things on why we should think it's wonderful, this economy. But the American people know better. They don't think that Joe Biden has done a great job in the economy because they don't see what Pete Buttigieg is preaching.
Right. And, you know, there's a great new paper out by Larry Summers and co-authors where he looked at the way they measured the CPI back in the 70s and the way they're doing it now, talking about inflation. And he found that they took interest out of the consumer price index and it doesn't affect it. And so, for example, if you buy a car for $30,000 today, you got a much higher monthly payment than if you bought it for $30,000 3 years ago. But that doesn't affect the consumer price index. And controlling for this, then their estimate for inflation right now is about 8%. And so you wonder, why are Americans so upset about inflation? It's because this measure that we're telling them they shouldn't worry about doesn't actually account for the things that affect their lives the most. And again, we need a government that pays attention to those things and fixes those things. Not somebody who's out there spreading propaganda dishonorably like Pete Buttigieg.
Kevin Hassett, thank you so much. Great to see you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kevin.